Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns played long and hard during the regular season, establishing the home court advantage. Well, you can throw it right out the window in this Western Conference semifinal. The Suns won 2 in the Summit, and the Rockets won 2 in the Desert. Now the series is tied, and Houston has the home court edge once again. Game 5 is next on Rockets Vision. Live from the Summit in Houston, Rockets Vision brings you the NBA playoffs. Tonight it's Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals, the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. Hi everybody, I'm Bill Worrell. Good to have you with us here on Rockets Vision for NBA playoff action tonight. And they talk about home sweet home, but that has not been the case for either one of these two teams. It has been a crazy series. The Phoenix Suns winning game 1 and 2 in Houston, and then having to go out to the desert, a chance for Phoenix to finish Houston off. Houston coming back to win game 3, and then on game 4, defeating the Phoenix Suns on Sunday, 107-96. So Calvin Murphy, the big question is, who has the advantage? Paul Westphal, playing mind games, is saying to his club, boy, aren't you glad you're going back to Houston?
That's very true. They've played here well throughout the year. And then, of course, they had the 2 big game series early that they won. So their confidence is not lacking here in this building.
Well, Hakeem Olajuwon has been the main man. He's leading the NBA playoffs in scoring. He's averaging about 13 rebounds a game. He's having clutch block shot defensive plays. And who can forget the big defensive block that he had on Charles Barkley in game 4?
Well, I know you're not surprised, Bill. He's done this time and time again.
Now that's a block first on Kevin Johnson that he had in the series. Blocked Barkley's a little later. And Hakeem has just been absolutely doing it all.
Well, Olajuwon knows that there's just a few more years that he has to get that ring. There's nothing that can be more complete for him other than the MVP than to have that ring. So right now he feels this is the time, not tomorrow.
Well, the question in Phoenix, Calvin Murphy, is what is wrong with Charles Barkley? In games 1 and 2, he was absolutely splendid. He was the old Charles Barkley. But in games 3 and 4, he's averaging only 18 points a game and 37% shooting. So what's happened?
Well, there's nothing about Charles Barkley that's happening. Let's give the Rockets some credit to the defense that they're playing against him. Otis Thorpe has done a nice job one-on-one, and they've been coming over, cutting off those angles to get him to the basket where he's gotten a lot of easy baskets over the past years against people.
Some people say that his back is hurting him. What do you think?
Well, you can be assured that there's something that's not right, but nevertheless, if you allow him to run free, bad back or not, he'll get his numbers. You got to keep pressure on him.
And of course, Kevin Johnson, boy, coming off a 38-game explosion, that ties his career playoff high. He's been just absolutely super. Look what he's done, points per game and assists per game. And what can you say about him?
Somebody better stop him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. He's just right now taking his game up to another level. And that dunk over Dream right there, of course, you know, Dream took a lot of ribbing for that. But Dream said, I never expected him to explode to the basket like that. That picture right there tells you what kind of a mindset he's in for this playoff.
Now, Kenny Smith has been chasing him, and he needs to get a little help. But I think what Kenny did was decided to answer back, and he retaliated for 21 points, including that big third quarter in Game 4. Kenny's getting the job done, too.
That's right, Bill. The way you beat an offensive player is to make him play defense, and what Kenny Smith is doing, he's just simply spotting up, allowing the ball to come to him, and he's not hesitating. He's taking that shot, and he's got a lot of confidence in it now.
All right, the backcourt of Maxwell and Kenny Smith has been getting a lot of help from the bench. And I thought in games 1 and 2, Ainge and A.C. Green and Joe Klein and Oliver Miller had the edge over Houston's bench. But in games 3 and 4, Mario Elie said, hey, I don't like this hand constraint anymore. He took it off, and look what the bench did in games 3 and 4, Calvin.
Well, what they've simply done is they come into the game and they change the game around. They don't come in and try to blend anymore. They play a different style, and they play the style that's comfortable to each one of them. Mario Elie comes in, he goes to the basket. Sam Cassell comes in, he's aggressive off the ball. Then defensively, Sam is picking up full court, not allowing them to go north and south, but they got to do the perimeter play. And then they always have the backup of the big men stopping any penetration against them.
Sam has been absolutely phenomenal. When they've opened the court, he's been able to penetrate.
Well, you know what? He has that unorthodox stutter step or whatever it is going to the basket, and the defense has not quite gotten adjusted to it yet. I say keep going.
In games 1 and 2, they were able to pack it in on Olajuwon. In games 3 and 4, Rudy decided to spread the court, and he dusted off the pick and roll.
Yeah, he went back to the two-man game, but what Olajuwon's done now with the floor being spread and the confidence he has with his teammates, he's getting that ball out quicker. He's allowing them to have time to set and make that shot.
All right, how do you see game 5 going?
I see the Rockets by 9, and I say that because the Rockets are going to go out and set the tone early and make Phoenix have to make big shots in order to get ahead.
All right, that just about sets the stage for you tonight. Game 5, players on both sides are agreeing on one thing. This is the biggest game of the series. It is now down to a best 2 out of 3. If the Rockets win here tonight, they're going to have a big edge over the Phoenix Suns. And we'll be back with a tip-off in just a moment on Rockets Vision. Rockets Vision, Houston Rockets playoff basketball on Special Order Sports is brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. For that deep down body thirst, nothing works better than Gatorade. And by the Discover Card. It pays to discover the card that pays you back. Hi again, everybody, and we welcome you back to the Summit in Houston, Texas. Game 5 of the best of 7 Western Conference semifinals. Moments away from starting here tonight as the Houston Rockets go against the Phoenix Suns. Mario Elie trying to play with that broken hand, and they inserted some screws in that hand. You'll remember when he broke it back in Los Angeles about a month ago. They operated in LA, and he had to wear a hand protection device. He threw that off after game 2. He said, I can't dribble, I can't shoot, I can't really help this team unless I have my hand. And so what he did was have the doctor take it off. The doctor said it would be okay, that he couldn't sustain any worse damage to it, even without the brace. And he's been a new man, hasn't he, Cal?
Yeah, well, what he simply's done, he stopped worrying about the negative and swung to the positive, and whatever happens, happens. So he's thrown caution to the wind, and he's playing his game again.
And what has happened now is he's able to come in and diffuse the small lineup that Paul Westphal likes to use, and that's mainly Danny Ainge, who comes off that bench and gives them a 3-guard lineup. They were very effective in games 1 and 2, but not so in games 3 and 4. Now, today the NBA announced that Ainge has been fined $5,000 for throwing the basketball deliberately into the face of Mario Elie at the tail end of game number 3.
Well, films don't lie, Bill, and we all saw it. I was very surprised that Danny Ainge would resort to some kind of tactic like that. That's the kind of things that creates riots.
Of course, that doesn't surprise a lot of Rockets fans who remember Bad Boy Ainge from his Boston Celtics days. And we would be remiss tonight if we didn't talk about Chris Gent, who has had a couple of minutes in game 3 and a couple of minutes in game 4, but they were very good minutes, and that in game 3 he was able to help that group for the Houston Rockets to kind of get back into the game.
Yes, he did. Now, he's a utility man. They don't have him coming into the game to do any one certain thing. He just doesn't want to lose ground while he's out there on the floor playing.
All right, let's go to our public address announcer, Matt Thomas, for the starting lineups.
First for the Phoenix Suns, at guard, 6'1" from California, number 7, Kevin Johnson. The other guard is 6'6" from Central Michigan, number 9, Dan Marley. At 1 forward, 6'6" from Auburn, number 34, Charles Barkley. The other forward is 6'7" from Cal State Fullerton, number 23, Cedric Sabalas. And the center is 6'10" from Old Dominion, number 41, Mark West. Head coach of the Suns is Paul Westphal. His assistants are Lionel Hollins and Scotty Robertson. The trainer, Joe Prosky.
the next NBA World Champion, our Houston Rockets!
And guard 6'4" from Florida, number 11, Vernon Maxwell. The other guard is 6'3" from North Carolina, number 30, Kenny Smith. And one forward, 6'10" from Alabama, number 25, Robert Horry. The other forward is 6'10" from Providence, number 33, O.T. Ladislow. And the center is 7 feet tall from the University of Houston, the NBA Defensive Player of the Year, Hakeem Olajuwon. Your Rockets are coached by Rudy Tomjanovich. His assistants are Carol Dawson, Bill Berry, Larry Smith. The trainer is Ray Melchiori. Tonight's officials, as assigned by the National Basketball Association, Hugh Evans, Jack Neese, and Joe Forte.
Well, Rudy T, in his third season as head coach, 129 regular season wins for 66%. What a great job he did holding this team together after the disappointing loss in Game 2. And he became not only a coach, but a psychologist, as he was able to talk to each and every one of the players individually and then together as a team. And he held this team together out in the desert. And they came back to win games 3 and 4. Now they'd like to get one tonight on the home court. Paul Westphal, probably just as accomplished a coach as anybody in the league. 5-2 in the playoffs this season. 18-13 all time for Westphal. He had 56 wins for his Phoenix Suns this season. He has won over 118 regular season games. There's Paul. And Paul said he was happy. He was using some psychology of his own. He said, I'm happy we're coming back to Houston. That seems to be our home court in this series. Trying to convince the players of that is another thing. Hakeem Olajuwon, the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year, NBA First Team, and soon to be the NBA's Most Valuable Player. He certainly has been the MVP in this series. The Rockets have lost the 5th game of a playoff series only once here at the Summit, while winning 5 times. Overall, Houston is 9-5 in the 5th game of a playoff series. And Charles Barkley trying to find a little of that old magic. He had it in games 1 and 2. In fact, he's had it this entire playoff series. Remember that huge 58-point performance against the Golden State Warriors in the first round. Well, here we go. West jumping center with Olajuwon. And Hakeem gets it. Quickly. Robert Horry takes it to the basket for 2. KJ on the offense. Cedric Sabalas has had some good starts in some games. Hasn't been in there at the end. There's Barkley taking it in on Hakeem. Misses the shot. Tipped around again. Kenny Smith in the open court. Rockets want to run. They got a 4-on-2. Vernon right down to Olajuwon. Has it slapped away by Marley. And a foul called on Dan Marley.
Well, now the Rockets right now have got their intensity level very high. That first jump ball going in for that layup. What they've got to do, they've got to sustain right now. They've got to be smart. They've got to get their shot selection early working for them and take it from there.
There was no foul on Marley. He just knocked the ball out of bounds. Olajuwon over West from the outside, and the Rockets have struck first with the first 2 baskets of the game. KJ on the outside. Sabalas will pop outside and shoot it over Robert Horry. He misses, and Olajuwon clears it out to Vernon Maxwell. Max on the run. Max pulls up and fires. And the Rockets have hit their first 3 shots of the game. This place is going bananas.
Yeah, but I like where they got their shots from, Bill. They got it 15 feet and in, and they did it from the opportunity baskets, coming off that floor, coming up the floor off the rebound.
Barkley and Otis Thorpe on the outside. Barkley takes it to the right, passes off Sabalas in heavy traffic, has it almost blocked, And West comes up with a rebound. Marley with a three-pointer, way too long. Otis Thorpe has the rebound. Here come the Rockets with a 4-on-2 advantage. Kenny Smith back to Otis, back to Olajuwon. He's trapped underneath. Otis over to Kenny Smith. Three-pointer! And the Phoenix Suns call a timeout. Listen to the summit. The Rockets have scored the first 9 points of the game. Well, Calvin, look at this ball movement to get it back out to Kenny
Boy,
Smith.
I tell you, that ball must be awful hot because they didn't keep it in their hands no time. And Kenny Smith wasted no time getting it out of his by hitting this three-point jump shot.
Kenny Smith, in his career, is the 9th best three-point shooter of all time in NBA playoffs. And Maxwell right on with the 2. But Kenny Smith in this series now is over 50% from behind the line. In the three-point department, Kenny Smith is now 16 of 31 for 52%, and that makes him number 7 best in the NBA playoffs this season. And Robert Horry is 14 of 30. Well, you can look at this one or two ways. You're happy for Houston to get off to a good start, but here at home, they've been off to 2 good starts before.
Bill, I was ready to say it's frightening me a little from the beginning, but you know what they've done, though? They've simply come out and they're sending a message that they're ready to play basketball.
Well, they used to say years ago, the time to relax is when you're under the most pressure. And the Rockets don't look nearly as tense as the Phoenix Suns do, at least here in the first couple of minutes.
Well, you got to understand, the Rockets understand that regardless of the outcome, obviously they feel they want to win and they can win, but if they don't, by some stretch of the imagination, they've proven what they can do on the road. So this is not a do-or-die situation to them.
Well, I can't recall a regular season game where the Rockets got off to this good of a start. They've hit their first 4 shots. By the way, in case you're interested, the officials tonight are Hugh Evans, Joe Forte, and Jack Neese. Neese, Forte, and Evans, the officials for this contest, and they haven't really had anything to whistle here early. And Rudy T has got to feel pretty good about the first minute and a half. This crowd didn't need a lot of encouragement, but boy, this start by Houston has gotten them into the game early. Clutch City, and you've got to agree with that. Well, AC Green has already come to the scorer's table, and he has checked into the game for Cedric Sabalas, so they're going big with Green, right?
Yeah, what they're hoping for with Green is a little more rebounding strength around that basket, maybe a couple of offensive boards to get themselves on that scoreboard.
KJ jumps behind the pick and scores again, and what's new? He's averaging 48% in the playoff series against Houston. He's scoring about 32 points a game.
Yeah, well, Kenny doesn't want to go behind that pick. He's going to have to fight over it.
Otis Thorpe laid it up, got it back. Robert Horry thought about it, got AC out on him. Olajuwon will work on West, leans inside, draws the foul, and makes the basket.
Now, when you talk about shake, rattle, and roll, that's what I just saw in Olajuwon's body movement. Let's take a look at it. All right, he just simply gets himself closer up to the basket. Ooh!
Oh, my.
Oh, my goodness. Something must have been on his shoulder he was trying to get rid of, Bill.
He got rid of it. It was Mark West. 3-point play for the Dream, and it's 12-2. The Rockets with this early barrage of points. 9:40 left to play here in the first period. Barkley out at the top of the key. He'll shoot it over Otis for 2.
You know, regardless of what kind of slump he may be in, he still has a lot of confidence in his game.
Kenny Smith on the drive, back outside. Maxwell with a 3. Look at that penetration, going from inside out.
And he didn't allow them to let him get trapped on that sideline. He made his move before they were able to form that trap.
15-4 Houston. Barkley again, same spot. Goes right. Fires it up off balance.
Now there's what they brought.
And the basket counts by A.C. Green, and a foul is called.
Now, a few seconds ago, we talked why A.C. Green was coming to the game, and here's the reason. They go to the offensive board, so now the Rockets are not going to be able to just run and jump. They're going to have to put a body on him and keep him away from that glass.
A.C. Green has been there with the Lakers 4 times to the NBA Finals, and he knows all about it.
Bill, my youngsters were here at 6 o'clock today to practice for the halftime show. He was here shooting.
Yep, having a good series. Down low to Olajuwon. Robert Horry looks over to Otis Thorpe. Almost lost it, gets it down to Otis, working on Barkley. Otis underneath, takes it up, draws the foul, and a very, very offensive-minded Otis Thorpe. And the foul is called on Mark West. That's his second foul already. So we'll see Oliver Miller in a hurry. Now, Cotton Fitzsimmons alluded to me in the pregame show that they were going to change up the way they've been playing Olajuwon with their centers. I don't know how much they can change, though, Cal.
Yeah, well, you know, we better check around their pants, see if they got any pockets, because in those pockets are going to be some handcuffs. That's the only thing there's left to do.
But I think Akeem's Houdini. He can get out of those handcuffs.
He's proved it to me.
Otis gets 1 out of 2. 16-7, Rockets lead it. Isolation for KJ. Now Barkley will come over. Robert Horry's on Barkley, knocks it away. Robert, one of the top steal men in the NBA playoffs. He's averaging about 2 a game. Barkley leans in, draws the foul, gets the basket. And Charles Barkley is back. You know, after game 4, they were talking about what's wrong with Barkley, and they asked Rudy Tomjanovich, and he said, I'd rather not rattle that cage.
Hey, let sleeping dogs lie. Let's take a look at Robert Horry. But this is what he does well. He has quick hands, but there's nothing you can do against an individual like Barkley who knows how to get himself situated for a shot. See, you want to go for quantity with him opposed to quality. So you make him take off-balance shots, make him have to get up enough jumpers to score his points.
Well, he missed the free throw. Barkley with 4 points. Here's Maxwell on the drive, and Barkley with a steal. Lost the ball out of bounds. Houston's ball. Charles fell down. He did a great job of getting back to steal the ball, and then he lost his balance. Did you see that grimace? Well, maybe that may have hurt his back a little bit. Huh?
No, it didn't like his back was hurting him either way. He got down there and was able to anticipate that pass.
Olajuwon pops out to the free throw line. He'll shoot it over A.C. Green. Too hard. And A.C. with a rebound. KJ in the open court. 16-9. Rockets by 7. Barkley with a three-pointer. He missed it. And Kenny Smith with a rebound.
See, there's the quantity I was talking about.
Vernon throws it to Olajuwon. Great catch. A.C. gets it. And now Barkley steals it. Over to Dan Marley. Marley looking to Green underneath. He's stuck with Kenny Smith. Now KJ will shoot the 3 and miss. And Otis with a rebound. Quickly to Kenny Smith. Kenny waiting for Akeem. They triple team Akeem because nobody else is down the court. Now Robert Horry comes in to help. Nice pass to Otis. Otis lays it up for 2.
Oh, now Robert Horry saw the floor very well. The defense was watching him put the ball between his legs. He saw Otis Thorpe going to the basket. A nice little pass over the shoulder to defense and scores. KJ
misses. Marley with a long rebound. Tough luck. Houston was going in for the rebound. The ball came out. Barkley baseline wide open.
Well, so much for my back hurts.
He looks ready tonight. He's 3 for 6 from the field. He's got 6 of the 11 points scored by the Suns. The thing Phoenix has to do is try to withstand this furious start by Houston. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Down to 6 seconds on the shot clock. Picked by Otis. Kenny Smith drives it in, throws it outside. It's going to be a 24-second violation on the Rockets.
And that's unfortunate. Kenny did a nice job getting inside, but if he had taken a look at the basket, he'd have saw how close he was to making that layup with Olajuwon coming to the boards for the offensive tip.
You know, if you're going to get down early, it's best to do it early in a game.
That's right.
And Phoenix now feels like down by 7. They've got to feel very fortunate after that early run by Houston. KJ in the lane, back outside, AC Green to Marley. 8 on the shot clock. Marley takes it to the middle. Maxwell, beautiful defense, air ball, Houston's ball. Can't play defense better than that.
Marley thought that Vernon was going to block it. He short-armed it.
Westphal thought that it either was blocked or there was a foul on the play for it to come up short. Kenny Smith guarded by Marley. Otis out high. Maxwell works the baseline. Comes off the pick, firing away. A little off balance. Ball is loose. Olajuwon has it. Now Robert Horry has it. Oh, Robert threw it away. And the ball is contested for, and Marley comes away with it. Now Barkley. Barkley gets around Horry and takes it to the hole, and he's fouled by Olajuwon. What a move by Charles Barkley.
Well, what they're saying is Olajuwon didn't get there in time to set himself, Bill. Let's take a look now. Barkley does a nice job. He gets around Robert. Yeah, that's what they call him. Plus, he was so close underneath the rim that if he was a couple steps out further, that might have gone in the Rockets' favor.
Well, the Phoenix Suns now have withstood that early furious rally by Houston. And this free throw by Barkley could get them within 4 points. He has 8 of the 13 points scored by the Phoenix Suns. Well, he misses badly, and Otis Thorpe with a one-handed rebound. So he's missed both free throws.
Yeah, that was an ugly shot. That ball was stuck to his fingers.
Smith looking for Olajuwon. Oliver Miller right on his backside. Keem throws it away. Good, right to Barkley. Up ahead to AC Green. AC runs over Maxwell. Charging on AC Green.
Vernon Maxwell did a nice job getting back on the rotation and stop that break, but Kenny Smith did another nice job hustling back to support. Now Vernon gets down, he holds his ground. Olajuwon gets over to try to block it, and Kenny Smith stopped him from being able to kick that ball over to the sidelines to any player coming in that direction. Now Vernon needs to use his speed to get inside on some penetration now.
Pass inside to Otis Thorpe for 2. Otis really making Barkley work on the other end. That's something that they haven't been able to get Barkley to do. The other teams make him play defense. And he's having to try to do that now. Otis a little more offensive-minded. KJ back on the outside now. Marley has it. Looking for the pass from AC, and it was knocked out of bounds. 9 seconds on the shot clock for the Phoenix Suns. It's Houston 20 and Phoenix 13 with 4:35 left to play in the first quarter. Barkley with that little step back. He misses. Ball tipped away into the hands of Maxwell. Max to Kenny Smith. Kenny with a left hand for 2. Beautiful drive by Kenny Smith. He switched hands. 22-13. Rockets lead is 9 again. Everybody with 5 points for Houston except Horry, who has 2. Marley inside over Olajuwon. He just looked at him, made him change his shot quickly to Maxwell. He's got to beat Marley. Max lays it off the glass, missed it, tipped up in the air. Maxwell has it again. Back outside, Kenny Smith with a 3.
Oh, nice play by Vernon Maxwell. Hustling to get the offensive boards. He gave them a little step, froze the defense, kicked it back out to Kenny. Kenny flawlessly put that ball back from the three-point range into the basket.
Olajuwon with a rebound. Kenny Smith, cross-court pass, Vernon Maxwell! Phoenix calls a timeout. They're going crazy in the Summit. Well, we have talked about the Rockets' offense, which has been considerable, but look at the Suns with only 13 points. And outside of KJ and Barkley, nobody else is even getting a shot for Phoenix. But Kenny Smith, again tonight, 3 of 3 from the field, Calvin, including a couple of long-range bombs. But look at this little switcheroonie.
Yeah, well, what the Rockets are just doing, they're putting so much pressure on the defense when they miss to get back and play transition defense that the Rockets are able to get whatever they want. Now, Kenny Smith is sitting right now on the three-point line. Vernon Maxwell saw him as he was hustling to get the ball, and Kenny finishes off the play. You know, it's a good thing I read lips, Bill, because I couldn't hear a thing after that explosion by the crowd here in the summer.
Well, I think they broke the sonic boom. The sound barrier was broken on that last basket by Vernon Maxwell. This place went absolutely nuts. This is about as loud as I've ever heard it in here in the Summit, and that goes back to the '86 season in the NBA Finals. The Rockets are just running when they get it, slowing it down when they need to, and they're just doing everything perfectly.
Well, they're playing the defense and they're rebounding.
And in the last 2 minutes, Houston has outscored Phoenix 9-0. Remember a moment ago, Barkley was at the line. It was 18-13. He had a chance to get Phoenix within 4. And since that time, the Rockets have run off 9 points in a row. You like that three-point shooting, though.
Boy, that puts a smile on my lips.
Well, Barkley, 4 for 8. He has 8 points. KJ has 2. AC Green has 3, and that's it for the Phoenix Suns. My ultimate highlight for MVP? Yeah, I guess so.
You know, I appreciate the enthusiasm and the fan participation, but the color of them faces makes me nervous in an alley.
Well, Robert Horry with 2 points, Otis Thorpe with 5, Olajuwon with 5, Maxwell with 7, and Kenny Smith with 8. Danny Ainge has checked into the game for Phoenix. And that will draw a round of boos from this crowd. If you're joining us just late, Ainge was fined $5,000 today by the NBA for throwing the basketball into the face of Mario Elie at the tail end of Game 3.
Deliberately.
All right, now Oliver Miller has it. Goes to Barkley again. Barkley over Otis Thorpe.
Charles Barkley.
So what you do with Charles, you try to guard him one-on-one some, then you run somebody at him occasionally, but you've got to keep it mixed up. Maxwell gets by KJ. Reversal for 2, and he's fouled. Oh, what a move.
KJ's checking his sneakers. He got the figure that nailed to the floor. Now, I said it's time for Vernon to use that blinding speed of his to penetrate some. I like the fact that his hearing aid is working, because you heard what I said.
KJ better check something else, too. He left that on the floor.
Oh, my goodness. Are we talking about the...
No,
yes.
yeah. Rockets with a 15-point lead. 2:52 left to play in the first quarter. AC Green looking to Oliver Miller. First time they've gone into Miller. Backing up Olajuwon with a steal. Ball is loose. Kenny Smith has it. Kenny Smith to Maxwell. Maxwell back over to Robert Horry. Kenny will set it up and wait for Olajuwon. Smart move.
Very intelligent.
Otis takes it to the middle. Little jump shot won't go. Danny Ainge will bring it up. They never liked him when he was in the Celtics green. They don't like him any better in the purple.
The man everybody loves to hate.
Eddie Haskell. Barkley off to Miller for 2.
Oliver Miller assists Charles Barkley.
Now, that's what you can't allow to happen. Now, Barkley is going to beat you over the top. You can deal with it. But if he can beat you over the top and then get inside and get his teammates involved, now the defense is starting to slack up.
Kenny Smith to Otis Thorpe. Barkley thought about stealing it for a minute. Now Maxwell's working the baseline on the picks. KJ goes for the steal. And a foul on KJ. Maxwell did a great job of positioning himself, and he's hurt. I don't know why KJ's arguing so much.
That was a clip.
And Max went down hard. He doesn't know what to protect. He's playing on 2 sore ankles, a sore wrist, and 2 sore hands.
Now, let's see. Now, KJ goes for... No, what can we do? There's no way he can complain that he's lucky Maxwell didn't get hurt.
That's the 4th team foul on the Suns. The Rockets have 3. Olajuwon comes out. He'll square up against Miller. Takes it to the middle, fires it over Oliver Miller, missed it. Robert Horry goes for the ball, knocks it out of bounds.
Rocket substitution, number 17.
And now Mario Elie will come into the game, and Vernon will get a rest. He's holding his left wrist, and Ray Melchiori will look at him. I don't know if there's anything left to tape on Vernon Maxwell. That's the one area that he hasn't hurt. Was that the one he hurt last year? I think it was.
Yes, it was. In the Seattle game.
The one he broke. The left wrist. Ainge, bounce pass off to Barkley, fires it up close range. And here come the Suns now. They're on a little run. And it's 30-19. Well, Hugh Evans did ask for help, and the ball was knocked away from Olajuwon. Hugh says it was off of Hakeem, so Phoenix will get the turnover.
Yeah, well, if it's going to go against the Rockets, it's going to go anytime that call is made.
That's the 5th turnover for Houston, 3 turnovers for Phoenix. 11-point lead for Houston. Barkley with the ball. The illegal defense is called on Robert Horry. And that's the first illegal D call in this game.
Violation results in a technical foul. It's Suns ball.
Ainge will bring it in for Phoenix. 54 seconds left to play in the first period. Barkley gets Thorpe in the air, and I think Horry may have touched that ball, and Kenny Smith has it. I think Robert Horry gets a block. Kenny Smith will bring it up. Rockets will go 2 for 1. Back outside, Robert Horry with a 3.5.
Yeah, he was just 1 foot outside his range.
Barkley and Thorpe again. 25 seconds left in the quarter. Barkley off balance, and it goes. And Barkley now with 12 points for the Phoenix Suns, and it's 30-21. 14 points for Barkley. And the Rockets will go for the final shot. There you see the time remaining in the quarter. Kenny Smith on the drive, lays it up for 2.
Oh, nice elevation.
6 seconds left. Barkley pumps off Thorpe, shoots a 3, way too long. Mario Elie with the rebound, and that's the end of the first quarter, and what a quarter it was. The Houston Rockets shooting 65% from the field, and they lead after the first 12 minutes, 32-21. Houston Rockets shooting 65% in that first quarter and lead by 11. Let's check out the game summary. Charles Barkley with 14 points for Phoenix in the first quarter. Maxwell and Smith with 10 apiece. Phoenix shooting 42% and Houston 65%. The Rockets 3 of 4 from behind the three-point line.
Well, what you've got to be concerned about right now is what can you do to keep the Phoenix Suns defense off balance. And what Maxwell's doing is he's mixing it up. Early he started by hitting a few jumpers. Now he's taking it inside, creating himself some opportunities to get some layups and create perhaps some fouls on their guards. Well, what do you say about Barkley except that he comes to the occasion? And what he does is moves and he scores and he gets on people's nerves.
Well, I think the important thing, too, about this quarter now, Calvin, is that Houston has now outscored Phoenix in 8 straight quarters. That means after the first quarter in Game 7, it's been all Houston. In Game 3, it's been all Houston the rest of the way. The Rockets had a couple of 9-0 runs in the first quarter. But Barkley has taken 13 of the 24 shots by Phoenix. KJ is only 1 for 4 for 2 points. Sam Cassell has checked in now, so it'll be Cassell, Kenny Smith, Mario Elie, Carl Herrera, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Herrera now will be entrusted with the job of trying to stay with Barkley as well as he can. And for the first time since late in the last game, Game 4, Elliot Perry has checked in. I think Paul Westphal is looking for a little more quickness here, right?
Yeah, he's going to match speed with speed. You're right. And this little fella is a speed merchant.
Trying to get back into the game with the speed. Sabalas is back in there also. Barkley looking down to West. Knocked away by Akeem, out of bounds. Sometimes a guy will like to go with a quicker lineup to see if he can race back into the game while he's resting some of his regulars. 3 seconds on the shot clock.
And they would rather use speed opposed to the outside bomb.
Perry has to shoot it over Akeem. Akeem blocked it, and that's a 24-second violation.
And that's a $50 advance to the Texas Youth Academy from Whataburger by Olajuwon also, Bill. Thought I was going to miss that, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I knew you would. I hear it in my sleep. You've made a ton of money.
Yeah, Olajuwon has been very kind to those youngsters with his block shots.
Now, Perry's going to press, too, isn't he?
Well, what he's going to simply do is change the game up. He's going to change the game up defensively. He's left-handed, so you got to be very protective of that ball on the opposite side.
Kenny Smith wide open. That was too close in. Kenny needs to get behind the three-point line, I guess. That's the first shot he has missed. Of course, when Perry's in there, KJ isn't. Sabalas on the perimeter to Ainge. 8 on the shot clock. Ainge trying to lean in, throws it up with the left hand. That was just a prayer. And it's knocked out of bounds by Hakeem. Of course, he had West all over his back along with Sabalas.
I tell you, Sam Cassell played that defensively against that left-handed shot by not allowing himself to get caught in the air because Ainge was trying to create a foul.
Elliot Perry from the outside. They're going to let him shoot. Ellie has it knocked away. Sabalas puts it up, and he was out of bounds. He came in, did not reestablish himself, so it's Houston's ball. Smith. Perry on Cassell. So Kenny takes it right down to Olajuwon, turns baseline 3.
That's a nice play. They were looking for that ball to come from the sideline, passed in from the forward. Kenny dropped it right in, didn't give West a chance to get set. Olajuwon finished it off.
Sabalas drives it inside, right into the waiting arms of Olajuwon, and he steals it again. Cassell will stop. Will pop.
Yeah, the only problem with that shot is he had Olajuwon parallel to him, so Olajuwon didn't get the ball or the rebound.
Yeah.
Put the big man down low or give the ball to Olajuwon. You go through, spread the floor, and let Olajuwon work.
Barkley gets a double team. Ainge picked up by Cassell. There's almost a knock away by Herrera. Barkley puts up a 3. Fast break Houston. Smith to Ellie. Drops it off to Sam. Kenny Smith will wait for Olajuwon to post up. Ellie with the entry pass. And the ball stolen. And a foul on Kenny Smith. Boy, Ainge had a whole bunch of Olajuwon's arm on that play. And a timeout on the court with 9:28 left to play in the second quarter. The Rockets leading it by 13 points. Watch and see what happens on this, because Olajuwon doesn't lose the ball very often with those sure hands of his. Let's see how much they fouled him.
Yeah, no, they fouled him, so we want to know how much. Oh, my goodness.
He's got his whole fist wrapped around Olajuwon's wrist. Man.
I'm beckoning to the referee again, Bill, and the last time I beckoned to a referee, I got in trouble.
Yeah, don't do it. Houston has the lead. There's no sense to go crazy here. But Calvin, a lot of times the referees will not call that because it's really not close to the action and it's not leading directly to a basket.
Well,
but still, it creates a turnover, doesn't it?
They missed it, period. That was blatant right there. He didn't go to try to steal the ball. He went there to dislodge his hand from the ball and got away with it. Did you know what, Bill? When I played so often, everything is happening so quick in a bunch. And if I had the ball, I'm moving my arm so much that it's very difficult for a referee to see the snatching and grabbing.
Well, we were familiar with that position for the great Larry Bird at the end of his career, because that's where he spent a lot of time over there resting his back.
That's right.
Now, Charles has a disc problem, as you know. He hurt it in the preseason. Then he had a knee problem that forced him to miss 17 games. But he says he's going to retire because he can't stand the pain in the back. And I don't know. He doesn't want an operation. He says he will refuse to have it operated on.
Well, at his stage of the career right now, you know, if he does have an operation, I think he's worried about how long it's going to take him to get the mobility back. And I'm sure he doesn't want to waste a year of speculation.
Well, now, on the other side of the coin, they ask Hakeem Olajuwon about it, and he says, hey, I'm going to play as long as I'm healthy. I enjoy the game of basketball, and as long as I'm productive, I will play. Boy, that's music to my ears.
Hey, to my academy, too. But you know what, though? He's just starting to understand and love the game, Bill. You know, how long has he been playing now? You saw him play his first game here?
Yeah, I saw him play when he got out of the taxi cab at the University of Houston over 12 years ago. Actually, it's been 14 years.
That's not a relatively a lot of time to play this game.
You're right. He's learning to appreciate the game and the beauty of basketball and how much he contributes. Okay, KJ back into the game now. Cassell will guard him. Ainge comes off a pick. Olajuwon picks him up. AC Green from outside misses. Carl Herrera with a rebound, gives it up to Vernon. So Vernon looks to be okay. That's good news. Herrera's wide open, takes it in for the jump hook.
Almost scared him. He turned around and didn't see anybody. He thought the game was over.
Almost scared me. And the Rockets lead by 15. 8:56 left to play in the second. KJ off a pick, shoots the outside shot. Now, Phoenix having to shoot the outside shot. There's no penetration whatsoever.
Well, they're packing it in, and they're keeping KJ on one side of the floor.
Mario Elie on the drive, and he's fouled. He'll shoot two. So the Rockets are driving to the basket, and the Phoenix Suns are having to pull up and shoot the jumper.
And that's Mark West's third foul, Bill. Now, Mario does a nice job getting inside by simply setting. He faked the shot. He got him coming towards him. And the thing you want to do when you want to penetrate is have the defense run towards you.
You talk about a man's man. Here's one right here.
Yeah, he enjoys being macho, Bill, in his game.
Well, he is. And here's Otis Thorpe now giving Hakeem a breather. Mark West will go out with 3 fouls. Oliver Miller will come back into the game. So Rudy now will go with Thorpe, Herrera, Elie, Cassell, Maxwell.
You know, Mark West's demeanor reminds me of Robert Parrish, the chief of Boston.
Yeah.
Just, you know, he very rarely says anything, easygoing, except that the chief has, what, 2 rings?
Yeah. 17-point lead now by the Rockets. 8:30 left to play, second quarter. Sabalas coming off a pick, takes it to the middle, throws it up, nothing there. And a foul is called on Houston. And Carl Herrera goes down hard, gripping that left knee. Well,
kind of.
I tried to pick an area, Calvin. Calvin, you don't have to laugh, and you don't have to point out that I was trying to clean that up. What did you want me to say?
The timing was perfect, except he didn't grab his knee.
What's the old Bill Cosby line, remember, when he said, the trainer comes running out there and says, where are you hurt? He says, I grabbed my foot.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it might be his shoulder. Now watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carl Herrera.
Now watch from behind again. He's pushed by AC Green.
Oh, yeah, okay.
AC Green pushes him in the back.
Okay. Oh, it's out of joint. It's out of joint. They're gonna have to pull it out.
Oh, that's terrible. That's why he was in so much pain.
Oh, you know, that's gonna be sore for a while.
Charles Barkley returns to the Phoenix lineup, replacing Oliver Miller.
There's AC Green with 2 hands to the back.
Yep, and threw his shoulder out of the way.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh, is that painful?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's painful. I don't want to see it anymore. Oh, that's terrible. And Carl was playing awfully well, too.
Well, if he's going to, if he's going to be out for this game, now that means that Gent may get a chance to come out and, get some spot minutes, Bill.
But he's not the big body. Herrera now really makes the rotation tough on Rudy.
Well, if you look at the Rockets situation up there, they hadn't had an opportunity to play Earl Cureton.
I think Earl Cureton would be the player they would play before Gent in that situation.
That's true, because Gent is the small forward. You're right.
38-22, Rockets lead it. 8:15 left to play in the second quarter. And the timeout taken by Houston, as Cassell was tripped by Ainge and had to call a timeout. So Cassell had no choice. Now watch their feet collide here. Well, that Ainge knows all the tricks, does he? He's amazing.
I'd have a trick for him.
I know, Calvin, but nowadays you'd be suspended.
No, now that's wrong. That's wrong. You're thinking I'm talking about putting his lights out.
Yes, and I know that's what you are thinking.
You've been around me too long.
You'd catch him just right, and it would all be over. But see, he wouldn't do that to you because he knows that's what would happen to him.
I was a sweetheart of a guy, Bill.
Well, I'm a little concerned about Carl Herrera now because we thought maybe it was something than it was, and that shoulder injury is serious. And he was starting to play some good basketball. Carl was giving Rudy some good minutes defending Barkley while he was in there, and even contributing a little offensive. So you see the Rockets now after that super start, leading at 38-22. The Suns shooting 33% from the field. The Rockets 50%. No, actually Houston 63% now. And Phoenix 32%. Houston 15 of 24. The Rockets also are 3 for 4 from behind the three-point line, and Phoenix is 0 for 5. The Rockets trying to take charge here because if they can win this Game 5, then it's back to Phoenix for Game 6. And the Rockets would try to close it out then. The Suns would be trying to stay alive and force a Game 7 back here in Houston on Saturday.
Charles in the works, brought to you by your Jeep dealers.
Well, Kevin Johnson, 1 for 5, Calvin. And I don't know if that's because Barkley has tried to get more involved, really.
Yeah, well, that's right. When KJ got involved, he had a lot of opportunity baskets, and Barkley was moving that ball quickly.
Now Barkley is in the game along with A.C. Green, Sabalas, KJ, and Ainge. Cassell looking to drive, pulls up on the jumper. Sam Cassell eating their lunch. 40-22. Rockets, 7:57. Sabalas with a turnaround, tough shot, won't go. Rebound goes to Mario Elie. He'll push it up in a hurry. Mario back outside. Vernon Maxwell pumps up a three, way off the mark. Sabalas with a rebound. Rockets need to get back now. A.C. Green to the middle. Shoots up to Jay off the glass. Elie tips it outside, and it's out of bounds, and it belongs to the Suns. 7:33 left to play in the second period. The Rockets lead at 40-22. An 18-point lead, the largest of the game for Houston. Ainge drawing those boos again. A.C. Green swings it around. KJ shoots it over to Cassell. He misses again. Elie tips it to Maxwell. Suns cannot hit a thing. Vernon on the drive, lays it up to 2. Rockets are doing this without Akeem Olajuwon. Largest lead of the game for Houston. They're just spreading the floor and running right through the Suns. KJ goes baseline for 2. They don't have much fear now driving on Houston with Olajuwon out of the game, and I'm surprised that's the first drive by the Suns since he went out. 6:48 left, second period. Cassell's got A.C. Green on him. Shot clock is down to 5. Cassell on the drive again, lays it up, had the layup, missed it. Good drive, couldn't finish it off. pull up and fire for two. 42-26. Rockets lead, 6:18 left. Second quarter. Sam Cassell turns the corner. Gives it up to Horry for two. That was a beautiful catch and shot by Robert Horry, who was off balance.
Well, it was done again by penetration, Bill.
Ainge and Maxwell. Ainge is fouled, throws it up. No basket, fouled out front. Foul on Vernon. That's the first foul on Vernon and the third team foul on Houston. One team foul on the Suns with 5:51 left. And Olajuwon comes back into the game for Mario Elliott. Now Marley checks into the game for Phoenix. And Ainge goes out.
Is Ainge going to be the new villain of the NBA, Bill, after that pass into Mario's face?
I think he's the old villain. He's been a villain for a long time.
Well, Lambeer was around, so nobody really knew it.
That's right.
KJ is not being aggressive offensively at all. He's not looking to take that shot.
AC takes a three.
But he is.
You know, AC Green has been red hot from behind the three-point line. He's almost got as many threes in this four-game series as he had the entire season. Olajuwon with a jump hook over Oliver Miller.
Oh, that's sweet.
46-29 Houston. 5:11 left. AC Green gets the fake, takes it. Olajuwon blocks it. Maxwell on Marley. Trailer. Oh, T for two. Seconds on the shot clock. Barkley. He missed the shot and he tipped it in. He was looking for Akeem and he short-armed it, but he got the tip in.
You know, but Otis Thorpe gripe with Sam is, if you can't block, get out the way. Let me get a shot at it. And
right.
Sam, got in the way of Otis being able to guard him.
Cassell quickly down to Olajuwon. Turns baseline. Misses. Barkley leads the purple wave. Picks out Miller right back to KJ. AC steps backwards to Marley. Into the corner to Barkley. Robert Horry trying to guard him. 9 on the shot clock. Barkley with the bump, with the miss. Rebound. And Thorpe gets it out to Maxwell. Rockets lead at 48-31. 3:53 left in the second quarter. Vernon. Hakeem. He's wide open.
Yeah, but he got to get his rhythm, Bill. And here's his rhythm coming now.
Cassell right back to Hakeem, spins into the middle on a double team, misses. Robert Horry with a putback. What can Phoenix do? There's no answer for it. Rockets are striking from everywhere. Leading it by 19 again.
Now, KJ right now has got to get involved in this game.
Back to Marley, who fires a three. Misses. Miller yanks down the rebound. Very physical rebound. Marley takes it in on the drive. Oh, Olajuwon sluts it down his throat. Here comes Cassell the other way. Maxwell steps behind the three. Look out! Oh, he missed it. This place would have gone crazy, and a loose ball foul is called.
Rocket foul. Loose ball, 25 second personal foul. That has been
Robert Horry with his second personal foul.
Let's watch one of these $50 blocks, Bill. Marley goes in there as strong as he can go. He has that grin on his face. And Olajuwon just met him at the pass. They used to call that the function at the junction.
You know Marley has not scored a point.
Get out of Dodge. You're right.
Has not scored a point.
And KJ hasn't been much better.
And KJ has only 2 field goals for 4 points. 50-31, Rockets lead. 2:52 left to play in the quarter. Barkley out at the top. Directing traffic. Goes to the right. Tough shot off the glass.
Now, anytime that Barkley gets that ball and he's pump faking it with his head and his foot, you've got to run at him and make him get rid of the ball. He very rarely, when he's facing that basket and he's getting his step set, passes the ball. That's his one-on-one move.
Well, he's got 18 of the 33 points scored by the Phoenix Suns. Mario Elie waiting for Olajuwon. Now Elie shoots it up.
Yeah, I thought that was a two-pointer.
I think it was a two.
Yes, that's what it
52-33. And a foul on Sam Cassell.
Now, Sam needs to just back off a little bit so KJ shows him that he has that shot today.
Well, we've got a timeout call by Phoenix, a 20-second timeout, and they will take a full timeout. 2:10 left to play here in the first half. The Rockets with a 19-point lead, 52-33. So far, Maxwell with 12 points to lead Houston. Kenny Smith has 10, Olajuwon with 9, Thorpe with 7, Robert Horry with 6, 4 for Elie, and 2 each for Cassell and Herrera. In this quarter, Houston has outscored Phoenix 20-12. And the big men for Houston, Horry with 4, Olajuwon with 4, and Elie with 4. Phoenix shooting only 25% in this second quarter. And it's just amazing the defensive job Houston is doing here tonight.
Well, they're just being very active defensively. Now, Olajuwon has an opportunity right now to play one-on-one. And as he goes across, everybody's watching him. Now, everybody right there has an opportunity to help, but Olajuwon still gets in position to take this shot. There's nobody underneath watching, and here comes Robert Horry.
You know, actually, Hakeem had an easier shot the first time through than he did the second time.
You know, so often you make so many fakes that you end up right where you started from, and you were too fast for the defense, and you bump right back into him.
Boy, you really know when you watch this action when they talk about taking it up another level in the playoffs, Calvin, because the Rockets are just playing on another level than Phoenix is right now.
Well, the Rockets are very aware that they, on their first 2 outings, didn't complete the job. They are more focused tonight, Bill, in what they're doing defensively. There's very few breakdowns in that defensive scheme. Well, anytime you can get Mad Max taking that ball to the basket, you've got to honor it. KJ had to come over, and Barkley was going stride for stride with Otis. Now, if you got a foot race going, you've got to favor Otis.
And Vernon, of course, he's been averaging about 6 assists, a little over 6 assists a game. So even when he wasn't having a big shooting game like he did in Game 3, he has been assisting and playing tough defense on Marley the rest of the series.
Well, I can honestly say, of course, Olajuwon is the MVP of the league, but Otis has definitely been the MVP of this series, getting the Rockets back involved.
Barkley comes out high,
2 minutes
goes
remaining.
left, backs up over Thorpe for 2. And Barkley with 20 of the 35 points scored by Phoenix. 52-35 Rockets. Barkley right out on Thorpe. Thorpe gets around and slams it home. Well, when you play him too tight, that's what happens. And Otis now with 9 points. KJ from the outside misses. Barkley runs down the offensive rebound. Now Elie picks him up. Elie will belly up with him a little farther. They go to the double team. Sabalos from the baseline. Won't go. Thorpe has it knocked away by Barkley. Marley misses the shot right to Olajuwon. Quickly out to Maxwell. Here comes Elie on the other side. Back to Otis Thorpe. Look at that, and he won't finish it off. Too bad. He thought he was fouled. It wouldn't go. And a foul called on Mario Elie. That's the 5th team foul on Houston. KJ will be at the line. Phoenix with only 1 team foul. First foul on Mario.
Number 7, Kevin Johnson.
You know, anytime you get yourself in a situation where you go to the basket with authority, they're going to part the ways. Now, Oliver Miller saw Otis Thorpe coming, and there was no way he's going to stop him, and he saved the foul right here. Now, Oliver bails out right there. I think it was a smart move on his part myself.
I don't blame him. 84% foul shooting here in the playoffs by KJ. And he gets them both. And it's 54-37 Rockets. 1 minute left to play here in the second period. Olajuwon trying to set a pick for Mario Elie. Elie continues the drive. Missed the layup. He's fouled. He'll shoot two. Late whistle. I think Joe Forte was waiting to see if the ball went in. If the ball went in, he wasn't going to blow it. It did not. And look, this is what they're doing. They can't play this two-man game very well, can they?
No, they can't, because the Rockets have a little too much speed when they turn that corner. They are big inside. If you try to post up against them, that's where they can form that triangle. But when you turn and face the basket, they've got to go laterally. They're in trouble.
Now, Calvin, the playoffs are really about who makes the adjustments, and I think Rudy really did make the adjustment after game 2 by going to the two-man game.
Well, you got to remember, before Rudy became the head coach, he was one of the best with breaking the film down in the game. He'll take that film, dissect it, find out where the mistakes are, and build his strategy around it.
KJ outside. 35 seconds left to play in the second period. Barkley with 8 seconds on the shot clock draws a double team. KJ passes off Ceballos inside. Blocked by Olajuwon. What's new? And the Rockets will bring it up and go for the final shot of the half. Listen to this crowd. They're up on their feet. Rockets would like to send him to halftime with a basket. Kenny Smith lays it up. He's fouled. He'll shoot two with 4 seconds left to play. First half. First foul on Cedric Ceballos. And Kenny Smith will shoot a couple.
Kenny Smith for the Rockets shooting 2.
Danny Ainge will come in for Ceballos. That's for the long-range shot. They've got 4 seconds to shoot a 3 to win the half. Kenny Smith could give Houston its largest lead of the game, and there it is, 21 points. Barkley tries to shoot it over Thorpe. Good defense by Otis, and there is the end of the first half. Paul Westphal has to be a little discouraged right now as the Rockets have thrown down the gauntlet here in the first 24 minutes. The Houston guards have outscored KJ and Marley and Ainge 32-8. And the Rockets go to the locker room up 58-37. Well, the Rockets outscoring the Phoenix Suns 32-21 in the first quarter and 26-16 in the second quarter, lead by 21 at halftime. And the one statistic that just jumps out at you, the Houston guards have outscored the Phoenix guards 32-8, Calvin Murphy, and that's supposed to be where the strength is for the Phoenix Suns, and the Rockets are absolutely taking it to them. They're much more aggressive and much quicker than Phoenix.
Without a doubt. What Phoenix has done, Charles Barkley has negated his guards because he's been so much part of the offense inside that the guards have simply whipped the ball around and never got it back. And KJ stopped being aggressive after he didn't get a few shots.
Well, they talk about the Rockets all season long being a one-man team and Olajuwon. Phoenix a two-man team with Barkley and KJ, and they can't both score at the same time.
That's unfortunate, but that's so true, because what happens is if they're both on the baseline, the defensive balance is gone for them. So KJ's got to play defense when Barkley's working offensively.
What can you do if you're Paul Westphal right now?
Well, what's he going to have to do? He's going to have to go at what's been good to him, and what's been good to him is KJ. They're going to have to find a way to get him back involved.
And if you're Rudy, you keep on keeping on. There's nothing wrong.
You don't break it. You don't fix it unless it's broken.
Don't break it, even if it's fixed.
Even.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, let's go to tonight's Discover Card Trivia question, because Marching Thunder is out there, and I can't get Calvin's attention anyway. Here is tonight's Discover Card Trivia question. Who holds the Rockets' record for most points scored in a playoff game? Discover the answer when we come back. The answer to our trivia question is, Hakeem Olajuwon, 49 points against Seattle back in '87, a double overtime loss. This trivia question has been brought to you by the Discover card. It pays to discover the card that pays you back. Stay with us, fans. Up next, we'll meet two super centers with a lot in common. We're at halftime here in the Summit, where the Rockets lead the Suns by 21 points. You're watching Rockets Vision on Special Order Sports.
The fans are getting jacked up because we are tonight looking at perhaps the two best big men in the entire history of college basketball.
Hakeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing. Not since the days of Russell and Chamberlain have two such dominant big men risen to prominence at exactly the same time. And as they entered the NBA, they settled into the familiar role of would-be saviors.
Basketball is back in New York City, my friend.
Yeah, I was comfortable with it, you know. It's life. It's always been like that. So it's just a way of life for me.
Any number one player pick, you know, is expected to produce, which was a challenge.
Hakeem seemed more than up to the challenge as he led the Rockets to the finals in only his second season. And though he did not win a championship, it seemed only a step away.
When we lost in the finals, well, okay, we go back next year. That's what I thought. I believed that, well, we lost this year. This team will go back next year. Maybe next year we win it.
For Patrick Ewing, the future also looked bright as he made a statement with the very first play of his NBA career.
His third year. Mr. Ewing says hello to the NBA.
I won in high school, I won in college, so naturally I expected to win in the NBA.
But though it seemed as if a championship would soon be in Patrick's grasp, it would prove to be much more elusive.
Well, my first couple of years definitely was frustrating. We only won like 23 games my first year, 24 the next, and I also got hurt, so it was very frustrating.
Hakeem, too, would come to learn frustration. Injuries and trades would devastate the Rockets, leaving Olajuwon to pick up the pieces and weather the criticism.
We went to a rebuilding stage, and from there, you know, they point fingers and say, well, oh, you won the ball all the time. That was what was frustrating, knowing that you just want to win.
It was a feeling Ewing could relate to.
It was rough. It was booing us. I remember one time we had a poster night, Patrick Ewing poster night, and I had a bad game. I remember people ripping the poster up, throwing it on the floor.
Reacting in anguish to failed expectations, frustrated fans launched a barrage of criticism that threatened to break up each team.
That was a learning experience for me because we're going to be tested as a team. And the strong team win the championship because when they are tested, they come together even closer. They don't fall apart.
For both men, the mission was now clear. Their success would hinge not on their individual performances, but rather on their ability to bring their teams together.
When I first came here, I tried to lead by example. You know, I wouldn't say too much. I would just play hard, practice hard, work hard. But, you know, in the last 2-3 years, you know, I've been more vocal. So if I see something that needs to be said, I'm going to say it. I'm going to, you know, tell them, you know, chew them out, do whatever I have to take.
Patrick Ewing taking charge.
It takes a team unity, playing together as a team and striving for one goal, to win. And if any of these are missing, the best individual player may never win a championship.
With Patrick and Hakeem leading the way, both teams have rejoined the NBA's elite, and both big men are again hailed as heroes. But for all their success, the shadow of championship expectations still remains. And for better or worse, it's this standard by which these two basketball giants will always be measured.
I live for that hope that there will always be another chance to get there, to win it all. I've been so close many times in college, in the pros, but just to get to go all the way for the first time.
I've accomplished everything I need to accomplish. But, you know, from day one, my goal was to, you know, win as many championships as I possibly could. But, you know, I'll start with the first.
Halftime from the Summit in Houston, Texas, Game 5 of this Western Conference semifinal action. The Houston Rockets leading the Phoenix Suns 58-37. Let's go to our Gatorade scoreboard update. what's going on. And tonight, Atlanta trying to get back into that race, 88-76 over the Indiana Pacers. So now that's 3-2 Indiana leads as that series goes back to Indiana. And Denver trying to stay alive. In game 5, it's 3-1 in favor of the Utah Jazz. Denver trying to send it back to Denver. Well, Charles Barkley has been the only bright hope for the Phoenix Suns, and he is 10 of 20. He has taken 20 of the 50 shots by the Phoenix Suns. He's made good on 10. He has 20 points and 5 rebounds in this game. Vernon Maxwell, on the other hand, for Houston, is 5 of 9 on some slashing drives to the basket. And he is really showing his quickness getting by KJ and taking it in. He has 12 points for the Houston Rockets. The shooting by the guards, as we check out the first half stats, has really been the dominating factor. The Suns are shooting 32%, but the three-guard combination of KJ, Marley, and Ainge only 3 of 18 for 16% in the first half. Houston's guards, on the other hand, are 11 of 18 for 61%, and that has been the difference here in the first half of Game 5. Olajuwon has 4 block shots, and there we see a couple of young men that you would not want to let out on a date with your daughter. But they are allowed to come to the Rockets games and cheer very loudly. Well, it's about time for our second half strategy, and Calvin, what is it?
Well, Bill, I tell you what, for the Rockets, luckily it's only a couple because they've done such a flawless job, I thought, in the first half. They've got to stay focused. That's understandable. You know, this team came back twice here to get ahead and win the games when the Rockets had such a big lead. They got to mix and match. They simply got to mix up the offense, and they've got to match the first half intensity on defense. And then they want to pressure the ball. They don't want the guards to get off and be able to get good shots at the basket after doing such a great job on them defensively in the first half.
Well, you do worry a little bit in the fact that the Phoenix Suns are a quick striking team. They can score a lot of points. So 21 points is not a lot because we're talking about 24 more minutes left to play.
And you're talking about Charles Barkley being able to change the tempo around. Plus, KJ has not been involved yet. And you know he's not going to go through a whole game where he's not aggressive offensively.
But, Calvin, I honestly don't think the way the Rockets are playing defense tonight that Phoenix can do that tonight. I would be very shocked if that happened.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that, Bill. The one thing that frightens me a little bit, though, is that KJ has not tried to really score any points. Well, there's his numbers right there for the series so far. 30 points and looking at 10 assists a game, and tonight he only has 6 points and no assists. That tells you the kind of shooting that they're having, and that's basically because of the Rockets' defense that has been stifling anybody that comes around that basket. Olajuwon has made some superb block shots, and that has gotten the offense of the Suns kind of leery about coming in there full blast any longer.
Calvin, when Phoenix won games 1 and 2, Barkley and KJ both had big games. Games 3 and 4, only KJ had the big game. Tonight, Barkley's having a big game without KJ. So what the Rockets have been able to do is diffuse one or the other.
Well, and Bill, it stands to reason that if you allow both of them to come at you offensively, there's too many numbers. So you've got to take the lesser of two evils. And if one's going good, you stifle the other one. And we said at the top of this broadcast, Bill, that they were going to keep KJ on one side of the floor. And they've done that. KJ has not been able to roam and pick him any shots.
You know, it's been amazing, too. Phoenix with 4 turnovers and Houston with 6. So what an amazing job of protecting the ball at this helter. And what about this guy, Dan Marley? He is 0 for 6 tonight. He has no points and 2 rebounds.
Well, that's him and Sabonis. Also, Sabonis is 0 for 2.
But they depend on Marley so much.
Well, I'll tell you what they got to do. They've got to make sure that the hardest way to get back involved in the game is over from the perimeter. They got to keep him out there. Don't let him get some easy baskets or go to that foul line. No, Sabonis is 0 for 6. I was wrong. I'm sorry.
And look at who's opening at point guard. Perry's opening along with KJ and Marley. Barkley picked up by Otis. Good job defensively. Perry is open, top of the key. He's picked up, and 3 seconds is called on Oliver Miller. the defense is just stifling for the Rockets.
Well, it's apparent to me also that the Suns are concerned about the speed of the Rockets guards because they got Perry in there to try to nullify some of that speed.
That's exactly right. That's what Perry's in there for now, to try to get some quickness for Paul. He's just being killed by the quickness of Houston's guards, and now Olajuwon will take it down on Miller. Oh, what a rainbow turnaround, and the Rockets hit the first 2 points of the third quarter. Oliver Miller's got to be saying, why me? But Mark West has 3 fouls.
Yeah,
That's
well,
why.
you know what Olajuwon says? Why not you?
Yeah. KJ picked up by Maxwell. He wants to force him baseline. Instead, he goes behind the pick by Miller, misses the shot. And the rebound stolen by Kenny Smith. Quickly to Olajuwon. He turns, fires, misses.
That's upsetting to Olajuwon. He had KJ on his back and measured the basket.
Sometimes you take a little too much time. KJ shoots it over Thorpe. That's a hurried shot.
Yeah, KJ's now hungry to get any kind of a score. He didn't take his time on that shot at all. He saw some daylight and he shot the ball.
Down to Otis Thorpe, takes it inside, and he's just taken to the court by Barkley.
Suns 34, Charles Barkley.
Well, let's watch shot selection, Bill. And I think this is a kind of a poor shot with Otis Thorpe coming at him. He just got up. He was fading away at 15 with a big man coming at you. That's not a very good choice.
Well, Barkley had no choice. Otis maneuvered his way right underneath, didn't he?
Yeah, he what they call Billy Bogard his way to the basket.
Barkley doesn't get bullied very often. That shows you the strength of Otis Thorpe. And Otis gets both free throws, and the Rockets have scored the first 4 points of the third quarter. 62-37 Houston. Miller comes out to set a pick. You can go behind that pick with Perry. Now he jumps it up, but he's not a good shooter. And Otis has the rebound. Perry has missed both of his shots. 3 shots, 0 for 3. Maxwell on the run, passes off, and the ball is stolen. Perry comes away with it. KJ will pull up from the free throw line for an easy 2.
Now there's the kind of shot that KJ has been used to getting in this series, and that's the first decent look he's had at the basket.
Kenny Smith back over the shoulder to Olajuwon. Hakeem has Miller backing off of him. Shot clock down to 10. Robert Horry tries to keep the dribble alive, and he passes it right to Barkley. A couple of giveaways by Houston now, and 2 easy baskets by Phoenix.
And you know what, Bill? Barkley's back is hurting him. I'm telling you that right now. He didn't try to elevate it.
Well, Perry just absolutely knocked Kenny Smith right off the court, and they'll call it out of bounds. Houston's ball. Now, the Rockets are getting a little sloppy with the basketball, and Rudy wants them to run something. Wally comes out on Robert Horry. Robert having trouble standing up. Over to Otis Thorpe, lays it up for 2.
Oh, that's a nice look by Robert. I don't know how he saw Otis Thorpe breaking on the opposite side of the
How
basket.
about Otis moving without the basketball?
Yeah, because what happens in that situation, everybody runs to the ball trying to help. It's a good point, Bill.
KJ trying to get a pick. Back over to Miller. Miller from 17 for 2.
Basket by Oliver Miller.
Oliver Miller's a big boy.
He really is large, isn't he?
I don't see any muscle tone either. He needs to.
Kenny Smith, good delay on the dribble, and Perry with a foul.
Foul is called on the Suns, number 2, Evan Perry. First personal. The Suns
So Kenny Smith will go to the line to shoot a couple. This guy is as large as a townhouse.
Huh? 1 or 2 level.
2. Man.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind using those shorts to go camping in.
45 AC Green.
To sleep in.
They feed him well in Fayetteville, don't they? Now Barkley will go out. AC Green will come in. Charles goes out, 22 points, 5 rebounds.
Mrs. Miller's baby boy. You know, he might be related to me, Bill. You know, there's a lot of Millers in my family. You know, my last name is Miller.
Well, he got all the size. 66-43, Rockets. KJ takes it inside Miller, quick turnaround.
Miller assists Kevin Johnson.
Had Otis on his back, and he decided to go right to the basket with it.
Well, the Rockets have got to be concerned right now that Big Mo doesn't take the better of him. I'm talking about the momentum swing.
Phoenix having to come out and press that ball now, try to make some turnovers, get back into this game. Olajuwon spinning, foul, it goes. Oh boy. Hakeem Olajuwon has perfected originality.
Yes, that's what he's done. He's putting a lot of stank in the game, Bill, as they say around the street ball. Let's take a look now. He's on the opposite side of the floor. He normally likes to set up on the right side. He comes over, he faces. Now he gets himself an opportunity by leaning in to pull back and shoot.
They're yelling MVP, MVP. Is there any doubt? Olajuwon with 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 block shots. KJ from the outside, he misses. Otis Thorpe goes high. Otis to Maxwell. Max trying to save it, and he ran out of bounds with it. Well, that's trying to make it happen, and that's what you got to like about what the Rockets are doing.
Got to stay aggressive.
They're not sitting back.
Do not be afraid to make a mistake. That's when they happen. You're too careful.
Perry goes baseline. He hasn't heard about Olajuwon as he has it blocked. Miller goes for the steal. Robert Horry has it taken away. Robert gets it back. Over to Kenny Smith. Rockets have the numbers. Otis Thorpe takes it to the basket. Oh, for AC Green. The Rockets are just stampeding the Phoenix Suns 71-45. KJ for 2.
Now there's the KJ we remember, Bill. He's becoming a little more active with the basketball, and he's doing it in the transition game. They don't want to play half court against the Rockets anymore.
But Barkley's not in there to dominate the ball. KJ's having to take it. And the foul on Elliot Perry, his second of the game. That is the 4th team foul on Phoenix. The Rockets have not committed a foul in this quarter with 7:13 left to play. Otis sets the pick for Kenny. Kenny tries the return pass, gets it back. Boy, Perry just yanked his arm away, and Robert Horry ties him up. Well, you got to like the feistiness of Elliot Perry. He's doing what he was put in there for. He's trying to make this team.
I tell you what, he makes me very nervous if anyone wears their socks the way he's doing out there now. That's the way we wore when we played, Bill.
Nate Archibald.
Yeah, but you know what? What Perry is simply doing is trying to get himself some more playing minutes defensively. He's out hawking the ball, trying to change the tempo.
There's a timeout on the court with 6:56 left to play in the third quarter. Hey, I really enjoyed Marching Thunder at halftime, Calvin. They did a great job, as usual.
Well, Bill, thank you very much for doing my job as well as yours while I was out there checking my youngsters in.
Well, that was easy. You had it all written down for me. Hey, do you know those guys?
Let me see. Yeah, there's Mojo Turner. And no.
You don't know those guys.
I don't know those guys. But they like the Rockets, so they're friends of mine.
How about this crowd, huh? Let me tell you what. The players again wanted us to convey to you folks how much they have appreciated the support, and I'll tell you what, this is one of the most active, loudest crowds that I have been associated with in all of my years of broadcasting in Houston. And this crowd has just been fantastic the entire game. They have come to the game dressed. They've got the banners, they've got the flags, and they've got the vocal cords. And they have supported Houston all the way.
Well, sometimes they say you need a little adversity to bring about some harmony.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's a good point you make. A lot of people talk about the collapse in Game 2, but maybe that turned it all around.
Yeah, nobody tried to disguise it and try to hide it. They brought it to the forefront, they got it out the system, and off they go.
Well, Hakeem Olajuwon has now passed Robert Reed for the franchise record for most playoff minutes, and he needs to play in only 3 more playoff games to pass Reed for a franchise lead in games played. And he's hoping to do that in the next week or so. Denver has taken the lead over the Utah Jazz 86-83 with 1:19 left to play in Salt Lake. Now, Denver could force a game 6, and that would be back in the Mile High City in 2 more days. What if Denver could tie that series up? Everybody was giving it to Utah. Wow, and then that might mean the Rockets would have to play Denver, and that's a matchup we didn't like.
At all.
That's supposing that Houston wins this series, and that's a long way off. 6:54 left to play in the third. Barkley back in the game. Gets a double team, leans inside of it. Hakeem made him change the shot. Ball knocked out of bounds by Phoenix. So Charles got through a double team by Horry and Thorpe, and then there was Hakeem waiting on him.
Yeah, well, see, there's the kind of defense that the Rockets use to get 58 wins. You've got to go by everybody in order to score. You just don't beat your man. Now, you got Barkley and KJ's taking a breather.
And Frank Johnson is in the game now. Kenny Smith with a left hand, missed it. Miller with a rebound. Frank Johnson has not played in this series until now. Kenny Smith deflects the pass by Frank. Frank, a former Rocket. Vernon Maxwell takes it down to Hakeem. Kenny gives it right back to him. Ball deflected.
Take care of the ball now. They don't want to get to the point where they're just bringing anything.
Barkley with a three-pointer. 71-50. Rockets lead it. Barkley now 1 for 4 from behind the three-point line. Olajuwon and Miller. Hakeem takes it to the middle on the run, puts up the shot, misses. And a jump ball as Otis Thorpe goes in and ties up Danny Ainge.
Now, the one thing the Rockets don't want to do is become stagnant, Bill. They don't want to start going down to a post-up game. They've scored by movement, ball movement, and body.
Otis wins the tip to Maxwell. He's got AC Green on him. That means Frank Johnson's on Robert Horry. Horry is fouled by Frank, but that's the 15th foul on Phoenix, so Robert will shoot. Robert, by the way, is one of the leaders in free throw shooting in the playoffs. He has made 16 of 17 for 94%.
Now, that was a good decision offensively. The Rockets recognized the fact that there was a matchup problem for Phoenix. They went inside quickly. Robert didn't waste any time using his size to get Frank to foul him. Frank Johnson.
Now, the Rockets are in the penalty situation. They have not committed a foul, so they still have 4 to give. He missed it and he knew it right away as he tried to follow it up but couldn't do it. 72-50. Rockets lead it with 5:28 left in the third period. Oliver Miller out high. Looking for Barkley. Barkley goes back door, gets the pass, lost the ball.
You know, Phoenix has been spending too much time trying to get Barkley involved. Opposed to Barkley, what he did well the first 2 games, was get the ball and get everybody else involved.
That's a good point. You're really true. That's he's not creating any of it, is he? Otis Thorpe with an offensive foul.
Offensive foul is called against Houston's 33, Otis Thorpe.
That's the second foul on Otis.
It's Suns' ball.
Now, Otis is a victim of the second foul of retaliation. Oh, Barkley played it smart.
Barkley outside. Otis go to double team on Barkley. Back to Ainge. Frank Johnson swings it around. AC Green is open. Air ball. And it's Houston's ball. .444 left to play in the third quarter. Rockets lead it by 22. Ainge and Smith. Team coming out high over to Robert Horry. Looking to Maxwell. Popping it down to Otis. Otis going to work on Barkley. Takes it up for 2 and he's fouled. Barkley can't handle him. That's pure and simple.
Can't say anything better than that, Bill. We talked about how Otis has been aggressive, but he's just too strong for Barkley right now.
17 points for Otis Thorpe. It's the second foul on Barkley. And Otis will try to get the free throw to go with it. Yes. And the Rockets now with a 25-point lead. Their largest lead of this game has been 26. Barkley gets a double team. Kenny Smith comes over to help Otis. Frank Johnson will shoot it from outside for two. That's one part of his game. When he came back from Europe, he was a much better spot-up shooter than he was when he left.
Yeah, well, in Europe, but you playing a shooter's game anyway. Everybody shoots the ball from long range and every place else.
Olajuwon goes baseline and a foul on Oliver Miller, and Hakeem will shoot the bonus.
That should be the third on Oliver, I believe, by now.
Well, Miller does have three, and West has three, so that's 6 fouls that they have given on Hakeem.
And 4 minutes, and the Suns with a penalty, and the Rockets get to have the team foul, Bill.
Oh, we're going to see Robert Horry come out of the game. Ellie will come in. And Joe Klein is getting ready to check in for his first service of the night.
Phoenix substitution, 45, Joe Klein.
There's Mario. Mario had a good first half, 6 points.
Ellie for the Rockets in the lineup.
And, you know, we talked about the use of the players. The Rockets have played 8 players, and so have the Suns. They stayed the top 8. Whereas during the season, they may have used 11 players by now.
Mario Ellie comes out on AC Green, really dominates the ball. Green trying to get free. Over to Barkley at the top of the key. Otis trying to pick him up, gives him a few steps. Barkley will shoot it for 2. Charles with 27 points. But the Suns with only 54.
Yeah, but see, Barkley's spending so much time getting his.
And trying to guard Otis. Now Ainge is on Thorpe. Thorpe manhandles him, throws it up for 2. He threw it around Klein, for goodness sake. 20 points for Otis Thorpe. AC cut off with a double team. Frank Johnson coming off a tough shot. No, won't go. The rebound goes to guess who? Otis Thorpe. He's doing it all. 20 points, 12 rebounds for OT. Down to Olajuwon, turns baseline. Yes! '81-54, Houston. Barkley with a 3. 30 points for Charles.
Well, he came to make a statement about his game. They said that he was through on this series. His back was hurting, his knees were bad, his toe was crooked, everything.
His toe was crooked.
Yeah.
Olajuwon working on Klein. Hakeem's 20 points now has enabled him to pass Oscar Robertson and Maurice Cheeks for 32nd place in the all-time NBA playoff scoring list. Oh boy, he keeps passing them by with every game.
Every point now.
Double team on Barkley. Frank Johnson inside. Olajuwon made him change it. 83-57 Houston. Kenny Smith for a 3-pointer. Oh my goodness! Timeout Phoenix! These fans are going bonkers. 29-point Houston lead. I thought it was a three-pointer. They've only given him 2. Let's look at it again. I wanted him to get a 3 out of it. I thought he set up behind the three-point line. Nope, there's his toe. Now he steps back, Calvin. That's a 3.
That's a three-pointer.
Yep. The scoreboard is giving him only 2. Henry is in the game, and they're going deep on the bench now for the Suns. Maxwell guarding Henry. Ellie on the switch. Skeeter Henry baseline misses. Earl Cureton in the game, gets the knocks it away, and the rebound goes to Phoenix.
Well, the Rockets players, Otis Thorpe and Robert Horry getting some needed rest.
Switch it around. Mario Ellie with a three-pointer. Won't go. Cureton tips it out to Kenny Smith. Earl Cureton getting his first playoff time. Maxwell with a 3. That won't go, and Klein with a rebound to Ames. 1:07 left to play in the third quarter. Pass inside to A.C. Green. He's fouled by Earl Cureton.
All right, now the Rockets don't want to make this the three-point shooting clinic. They want to stay in the same mode that they've been all game long. Look inside, make things happen, then kick it back to the perimeter.
A.C. Green for Phoenix, shooting 2.
Boy, I wanted Kenny to get that three-pointer. I thought he had it. A.C. Green's had a good series. He's missed some free throws, but this is what the Suns have done. Barkley with 30, and then look at the rest. Isn't that amazing? And I don't think Marley has scored a point. He hasn't. He's been completely shut out, and A.C. Green misses both free throws. This may be the first time in Marley's career he's ever been shut out in a game. It's not over yet. I think he was shut out earlier in a regular season game here for about 3 quarters. Down to 5 seconds on the shot clock. Down to 4. Kenny Smith puts it up, misses. Tipped away from Otis. A.C. Green with a layup.
A.C. Green assists Skeeter Henry.
Skeeter Henry.
Skeeter moves a little bit like who? Let me see. Who does he remind me of? He has a nice little ball handle there.
Ellie has it on the perimeter with 15 seconds left in the quarter. Mario Ellie gets a step on West. Nice pass to Cureton. He's fouled. He'll shoot 2. Earl Cureton with a nice move to the basket, and Mario found him with a pass.
Foul is called on the Suns, 35.
Well,
his first personal foul.
KJ and Marley tonight, the starting guard tandem for Phoenix has gone south. KJ 4 of 13 for 10 points, and Marley 0 for 6 for a big goose egg. Can you believe it?
Phoenix substitution for 2.
Well, you're looking at 4 for 19 out of that top backcourt for him.
Mark West.
Now Mark West comes out of the game. So it'll be Klein and A.C. Green. Cureton with both free throws. 87-61 Rockets with 5 seconds left. Harry shoots it up, misses. Cureton with a rebound, gets it out to Maxwell, and that's the end of the third quarter of play. Another quarter of excellent basketball for the Rockets. They have now outscored the Suns 9 quarters in a row. And here we go with the final 12 minutes of Game 5. The Rockets 87, the Suns 61. Well, the Houston Rockets onslaught continued in the third quarter, outscoring Phoenix 29-24. That makes 9 quarters in a row. Houston has outscored the Suns. And the Rockets enter the final 12 minutes of play with a 26-point lead. Otis Thorpe with an 11-point third quarter. He was just unstoppable.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've got Otis Thorpe thinking that he's really an offensive ball player. He just pulled the old Connie Hawkins move with that ball.
And Connie's here tonight.
Yeah, Connie looked at him and says, that looks familiar, big fella.
You know, that's a good point. Connie Hawkins works for the Phoenix Suns front office, and he's here at the game. And that's the first player I ever saw do that one-handed move. He just sling that ball around and do a couple 360s and dunk it home. And Otis put one up on Connie here tonight. Well, here's our game summary through the first 3 quarters. Barkley with 30 points, but he's it. Nobody else for Phoenix with over 10. Thorpe and Olajuwon with 20 apiece. Phoenix in the third quarter shot 50%, but Houston shot 60%. And the Rockets for the 3 quarters have shot 60% and Phoenix only 38%. It's just been an overwhelming performance by the Rockets. Now remember, in game 2, the Rockets led by 20 with 10 minutes left to play in the game and lost. But I don't think so tonight. Cassell to Curidan inside for 2. Oh, Curidan's working Joe Klein over, isn't he?
Just by movement. And, you know, the penetration is helping them, too, because they have to react to whoever's bringing that ball inside.
Mark West with a turnaround and Curidan with a rebound. Curidan's very active. That's one reason why they activated him for the playoffs. They wanted his playoff experience. He has been there before. And he felt like if push came to shove, now with Herrera hurt, Herrera, we understand, will not accompany the Rockets to Phoenix with that dislocated shoulder. They'll have x-rays on Wednesday. Otis Thorpe with a rebound. Look at that. He missed it. Got a one-handed rebound. Almost put it back up in the air. The ball. Curidan tries to get it back. Ball's on the floor. Kicked around, out of bounds by Houston.
Curidan's trying to get some more playing time, Bill.
I think he's going. He might deserve it. Now, you know, they're resting KJ, aren't they? And Barkley right now for game 6. But Rudy's getting to rest his big guns for
That's
game
right.
6. Skeeter Henry drops it down to Mark West. West turns around, a little fade away. Now you see why he's not in their offense.
Curidan with another rebound.
Kenny Smith gets a pick from Curidan, passes inside to the big fella. He hooks it up, has it blocked by West. Mark West is a good shot blocker.
Yeah, he's always been a good shot blocker. So is Oliver Miller, but they just haven't had the chance because they've been so busy trying to stop Olajuwon that they haven't had a chance to go after anybody else's shot.
There's Charles watching it, looking it over. Mario Elie from the outside. He misses, and the rebound goes to Phoenix. And Haynes draws another chorus of boos. On the drive, Danny Ainge misses the shot, tipped out to Sam Cassell on the run. Sam pulls back and fires for 3. A 30-point Houston lead, 91-61. 9:55 left to play in the game. It's been a rout almost from the opening tap. Mark West kind of falls forward. Elie has it in the fast break. Elie, Cassell, Elie.
This is a clinic, Bill. This is an absolute clinic on how to play defense, get the ball, and go.
These fans can feel it. So can the Rockets. 22nd timeout by Phoenix. If you're interested, the largest margin of victory in a playoff game for Houston came against the New York Knicks back in 1975. I remember that was at Hofheinz Pavilion, and the Rockets demolished the Knicks 118-86. That was a pretty good Knicks team.
Yes, it was. Now, Curidan gets his hand on another ball. They get the ball out, and I like the way they just get the ball moving. Bang, and it's right back. Make the defense react. And up and in.
Well, the last time the Suns lost 3 games in a row was last season in the regular season, and the Rockets were the team that hung the 3rd loss on them. That was at the tail end of the season. But never has it happened to Phoenix in the playoffs. And the shock that must be coming over this Phoenix team After leading 2-0 with 2 games coming up in the Valley of the Sun, they were talking about clinching it and going all the way. And now they're sitting over there, getting ready to lose their 3rd game in a row. And what do you do? Right now, the Rockets, they got plenty to talk about.
Well, I think within 2 minutes they're going to talk about what do we do for next game. That's what I think. You talk about what do they do now. There's very little to do now with 9:36 on the clock, except hoping the Rockets go completely blind at the jump shot, and they can get themselves an opportunity to keep scoring without with that clock moving.
I'll tell you one thing, that man right there, now there you see the disappointment in the eyes of Oliver Miller and Danny Ainge, but that man right there, 30 points tonight for Charles Barkley. He has done everything in his power, but the backcourt of the Phoenix Suns fell right through the floor tonight. KJ, 4 of 13 for 10 points. Dan Marley, 0 for 6 for a goose egg. Marley scored only 1 point against the Lakers this season. That came back on April the 13th. And he has not scored a point here tonight.
That's just amazing.
I can't believe it.
That's just amazing. My goodness.
KJ talking to Lionel Hollins, but there is a very dejected Phoenix bench. And what do you do now? You have to try to regroup. And Thursday night, force a 7th game.
As a coach, you start talking about confidence. You start talking about not worrying about what is past.
And Denver and Utah are in overtime. Utah trying to finish off the Denver Nuggets. They better do it tonight. Sam Cassell in the open court throws it up and a foul is called. Scotty Brooks checks in and the applause is for Kenny Smith. Another beautiful performance by Kenny tonight. 16 points and 8 assists, including 2 3-pointers and 1 they didn't give him.
First team foul. Set this on the line.
We understand the Utah Jazz now have the basketball with 5 seconds left in overtime. It's tied up at 94 against Denver. If they let that series go back to Denver, look out. (95-63). Scotty Brooks will be matched up with Frank Johnson. And Henry has the ball stolen by Sam Cassell and knocked out of bounds. Skeeter's from Arlington, Texas. He's a Texas youngster. We'll talk more about him in a moment. You probably haven't heard from him. He goes by the name of Skeeter because his first name is Herman. And Herman Henry just, I don't know if that'll get it or not, unless you're in the Munster family.
Oh, that's...
There's Oliver Miller with a putback for 2.
Oliver Miller.
Whatever.
Bill, I'm so glad you're my friend.
Otis Thorpe in the open court. That's what the Rockets have done so well. Open up the court in the last 3 games. Scotty Brooks with a rainbow. 8:20 left to play in the game. Frank Johnson on the miss. Cureton goes high for a rebound and gives it up to Otis. And Cassell will walk it up. And a turnover as Cassell throws it away. And Matt Bullard will check into the game for Houston. And Otis Thorpe gets a standing ovation. 20 points, 13 rebounds for OT. What a game.
I had to give him a little standing ovation, Bill. He worked. He's been working these last 5 games. You know, Cureton hasn't played very many minutes and got 6 rebounds, Bill.
I know it. Working on
and a block shot.
Block shot of Miller.
And a block shot.
And a block shot again. And this time a foul is called on Earl Cureton, but he blocked Oliver Miller. That's the second foul on Earl.
Well, Cureton's allowing him to box him in.
Second team foul.
You know, Miller started the first 2 games and Phoenix won. Then Mark West came back as the starter in the next 3, and they're going to lose those 3.
Well, all I know is I'm 22-0 when Marching Thunder performs in the Summit.
Well, let's get them here again whenever. Well, the Denver-Utah game has gone into the second overtime. Cureton fakes Klein in the air, takes it up, draws it. Oh, did he travel? Yes. Traveling called on Cureton. 7:32 left to play. 95-67 Houston. The Rockets started off quickly. They scored the first 9 points of the game. Since that time, they took over. Klein gets the bucket. Matt Bullard goes to the basket, has it blocked. Sam Cassell has it, and it's stolen by Sabalas. Gets it up ahead to Skeeter Henry, and the Oklahoma Sooner slams it home.
Okay, now you don't want to put yourself in a position, regardless of what the score is, to get anyone thinking that make it happen again. I'm talking about another one of those record-setting games.
Cureton setting a pick for Cassell on the drive. He throws it, and a steal by Frank Johnson, a foul on Mario Elie. Mario Elie now going to lecture his teammates a little bit. Right now, Phoenix has reeled off 10 points in a row. And a timeout is called on the court with 6:34 left to play. What Rudy doesn't want to have to do is go back to his primary players again.
Yeah, see, that's not good. That doesn't say very much for the bench. When they have a 30-point lead, you got to go back to your starters down the stretch to secure a victory.
The Rockets shooting 56% in this game, Phoenix 37%. Rockets have also done a good job on the free throw line. 22 of 24 for Houston from the line for 92%. 6 of 11 from the line for Phoenix for 55%. And the Rockets have out-rebounded the Suns 45-30. So it's just been an absolute domination by Houston. Barkley with 30. And then you have to drop down. KJ has 10 points, but that's on 4 of 13 shooting. And Oliver Miller has 10 points. Most of those coming here in this quarter. Check out the scoring in the NBA playoffs. Hakeem Olajuwon leading Barkley and KJ. So there you have the top 3 players in the NBA playoffs right on this court tonight. And Karl Malone is heading into a second overtime at Salt Lake City tonight against Denver. And tonight, as I told you just a few seconds ago, the Rockets doing a big job on the boards tonight. And not only tonight, but in this entire series. There you see in game 1. But then in games 3 and 4 and tonight, look what the Rockets have done on the boards.
Well, it's going to be interesting, Bill, what happens in Phoenix. They've got to regroup totally. They were totally dominated in all statistics. And the big one was defense.
Passing inside to Sabalas for 2, and that's a 12-point run now by Phoenix. They've outscored Houston 12-zip.
Rudy starting to look at the clock, starting to count the possessions, Bill.
Frank Johnson on Scotty Brooks. Matt Bullard takes it inside, lays it up for 2. It's a good move by Matt.
Well, his reputation is solely three-point shooting. Everybody plays him that way.
They came rushing out, and he drove it in.
Fools rush in.
Rockets had gone over 2.5 minutes without a point until that layup by Bullard. Skeeter Henry takes it in. Elie with a steal. Got good position on Sabalas. Sam Cassell passes inside. Cureton for 2. Well, that Earl Cureton's done a job, hasn't he? He's come off the bench for 6 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple of blocks. Skeeter Henry with a 3-pointer. Nope. Cureton tips it, but he tips it to Sabalas. Looked like Bullard may have knocked it away from Cureton. He looked like he was trying to get the rebound, and they were both going after the ball. Scotty Brooks trying to get a pick on the two-man game. Mario Elie with 6 on the shot clock. What a tough shot by Mario. And Elie tonight with 10 points. Sabalos with a reversal for 2. Cedric has 7 points.
Okay, but that's Sam Cassell's fault on that particular move. Sam stopped playing defense two steps too soon. He should have gone to the baseline and not allowed that corner to be turned.
Scotty Brooks back outside. Bullard leans inside, puts it up for 2. Matt Bullard with a couple of baskets in a row. 103-77 Houston.
Well, Bill, you can honestly say the party's over.
Yep.
For tonight.
Skeeter on the miss. Miller gets the rebound, puts it up, and he's fouled. Foul called on Cureton. That's his 3rd of the game. And Chris Gent comes in now for Mario Elie. Elie off the bench, 10 points, 1 steal, 3 rebounds. Boy, Elie has really been a leader in these last 3 games. Chris Gent's done a pretty good job coming in off the bench the last couple of games. 103-80. Who are you going to get to interview after the game?
Well, I tell you what, I can put the names in the hat and grab one, Bill.
Really good.
And I'm looking to talk to OT about his offensive game and what he's done against Barkley. The last couple of games, Barkley had a big game, but Otis was able to match him.
Cassell throws it away. Peter Henry in the open court, picked up by Bullard. Over to Oliver Miller. Sabalos missed the shot. Picked up in the air and saved by Cureton. And a foul is called on Sabalos. That's the 2nd team foul on Phoenix, and Sabalos with his 2nd foul of the game. Well, Paul Westphal is in shock.
That's what that is.
Now their only hope is to beat Houston Thursday night, which is a very good possibility, but it forces a game 7, and that'll be back here in the Summit on Saturday. But the way the Rockets are playing, that's going to be tough to do. Gent with a steal. Scotty Brooks with a basket. I like this Gent. Chris Gent's a good ball player.
I saw him play 3 minutes, Bill, and I was on his bandwagon when he first got in the Dallas game during the season.
And he plays tough, tenacious defense on Sabalos. Klein with a turnaround. He misses. Cureton goes to the board. Sabalos gets the loose ball. Boy, Cedric's doing everything he can. He's hustling right to the end. That's 9 points. 105-82 Houston.
Well, remember, he was scoring 30 and 40 points when Barkley was hurt.
I know it. Sabalos is going to be a nice player in this league. Bullard on the drive, laid it up, had it blocked, but blocked right to Scotty. Gent is open from 18. He missed. And Klein with a rebound. 2-18, 2-17, counting. Shot from the outside short. Scotty has it in the open court. Take some time off, fellas. 2 minutes left to play in the game.
2 minutes remaining in the game. 2 minutes.
And a foul on Frank Johnson. Well, they got to take this time out for TV purposes. 1:57 left to play in the game, and the Rockets have forced this series back to Phoenix, where now they will go for their 4th win in a row and a chance to close it out Thursday night. We want to remind you folks that you can see that Game 6 Thursday night on Paramount 20. Alvin and I will be doing that game for you, along with our good buddy Paul Bykowski on the road.
Well, you know, we talked about Gent, about coming in and being aggressive, being tenacious. Let's watch him on defense with Sabalos. He's letting Sabalos know that he's out there and he's just not trying to get some chump minutes. He's out there to create some havoc. I tell you what, I'm sitting here marveling over Turbo at this stage of the game with 1:57 to go.
Well, let's marvel along with you.
And he just did a between the legs cartwheel, front cartwheel dunk. MVP 34. I didn't say 33 in the third. I said 34.
Well, we understand Denver now is up by 7 over Utah with 2 minutes left in the second overtime as Turbo takes off. Yes. Well, he's worth the price of admission. We do not know right now when Game 6 will be on Paramount 20 Thursday night. They're going to decide that after the game. But I'm just guessing that it might be 8 o'clock Phoenix time, which would make it 10 o'clock here. I'm just guessing, but that check your listings tomorrow in the newspapers for when Thursday night's game will be. That's the scoring by periods, and the Rockets have dominated. Foul on Frank Johnson. That's the 15th foul on Phoenix, and Sam Cassell will go to the line to shoot.
Third personal foul, second in the last 2 minutes.
Well, there's a bench that you can be proud of. Those guys sucked it up after that disappointing loss. The headline said Choke City. They were writing about the joke is on Houston. And these guys went out to the desert, won 2 games, and now have won their 3rd game in a row. And they'll try to close it out in Phoenix Thursday night. But let me caution, it's not over yet. Because if the Rockets won 3 in a row, Phoenix can win 2 in a row, right, Count?
That's right, especially going home for Thursday's game. You know that they're going to be so intent that the referee is going to warn everybody from the beginning. He's not going to take any kind of altercations.
Perry misses on the outside. Bullard with the rebound. 1:23 left to play in the game. Sam Cassell gets a little bump from Frank. Looking down to Cureton. They'll go over to Bullard. Bullard puts up a 3. Going to be short. Skeeter Henry to Sabalas. Oh, beautiful 360 move by Cedric.
And he did that with a midget underneath his feet, being Scotty Brooks.
Well, Sabalas had only 1 point at halftime. Doing well here in the 4th period. Bullard lays it up, missed it. 44 seconds left to play. And Henry lost the ball. Gets it back. Sabalas inside, and double dribble is called.
Well, it's starting to become a comedy of errors these last few seconds up here, Bill.
Well, the Rockets put it away in the first 3 periods. And look at this crowd. They're up on their feet. They're letting the Rockets know how much they appreciate it. Earl Cureton, yes. Everybody getting into the act for Houston, including Houston's 6th man, the crowd. And that shot from the corner is good with 9 seconds left to play. And Scotty Brooks will hold on to the ball. Well, the Houston Rockets can finally say home sweet home. They win their first home game of this series, and it's 3 wins in a row over Phoenix. And now Houston takes a 3-2 lead in this best of 7. As we head for the Valley of the Suns, the Rockets will try to wrap it up Thursday night. Final score, Houston 109, Phoenix 86.